So you've been on the internet for a while, right? So you've been seeing the videos over the course of however long the internet's been a thing, that when daughters are ready to start dating, once they become teenagers or they want to start dating, um, if they have fathers in their lives, active fathers, active, they'll invite the boy to the house and they will pull guns on them. They'll spit in their face. They'll threaten them with any sort of violence. It's, you better have my daughter home at a certain time. We've seen it. We've seen the prom pictures because prom season is coming up. How is prom supposed to work? What? The pandemic? I don't really know. Oh, kids. We've seen it happen with the girls, but we don't see it happen with the boys when they're ready to date. Everyone's just excited that they're dating in general. But girls, we got a whole problem. So this week, we gonna talk about that. We gonna talk about how that's bullshit. With your host, Love Goddess. Still getting used to that intro, y'all. Still working it out. Anyway, so back in the day, when I was a youngin', I was surrounded by men. Men who would feel like it was necessary to protect me from themselves. And it didn't really make sense to me because I saw these men as, yes, flawed, but generally good. And I thought, well, there's got to be more of them out there. There's got to be more men. There's got to be more good men. Or good men. Ain't no way in hell. I didn't know that at the moment. But apparently all the men around me and all the boys around me knew that there were not good men. But why? Why are there no good men? Because you don't make them into good men? Because you allow them to be shitty and date? You allow them to have sex and talk about sex with them, but not your daughters, which leads me into reason number one. While you should allow your daughters to date, they're gonna have sex. They're gonna have sex. They're gonna have sex. They're gonna have sex. They're gonna have sex, guys. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I know you don't like it, but it's gonna happen. Why does it happen? Because we're curious. Because we're human. We're kind of supposed to have sex in a lot of ways. But I don't know. I mean, I could do the research if I really wanted to, but I don't know where we started to believe that we shouldn't tell girls about sex, but we should be requiring boys to have sex. All while telling each of them that sex is bad. Sex ain't bad. Sex ain't bad. Sex is just an action. It's an action that we partake in for a lot of different reasons. Because it's fun. Because the shit feels good, because you can be connected to your partners, because it's something to do, because you bored, because you need to make a check. Like, there are a whole bunch of reasons why we have sex. And you do know that when you had your kid, eventually they're going to have sex. And when they're teenagers, that's usually the prime time of when they're thinking about having it, if they're not already having it. You cannot stop the inevitable. It's gonna happen. So I don't understand why we're still walking around here like sex is just the devil when it's not. It's a regular fucking thing. And we really need to get the hell over it. And we really need to tell girls that it's okay for them to have sex. Because y'all have no problem with allowing boys to have sex. You know, sex is a normal thing that we're all supposed to have. Why? because it's a part of our growth. You're supposed to have it. We start to look at you funny as adults when you look at other adults who are not having sex. We start to ask like, well, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with them? Why aren't they having sex? What's going on with them that they feel a way about having sex? What's the issue? Well, the issue might be that if they are an AFAB person, they might have had a father who pulled guns on all of their potential sexual partners, and it made them feel like what they were doing was wrong. It's not wrong. It's not wrong for you to want to have sex. It's not wrong. But it's what's wrong is you trying to keep boys and men away from your daughters of all ages because you think that they're terrible people, which, point number 2, you're trying to keep your daughters away from boys and men, and you should keep them away from men if they're under the age of 18 because we don't accept predators here. Y'all trying to keep your daughters away from boys who remind you of you. Let's be real. They remind you of you. You look at that kid and you see yourself. You see a kid who would lie and cheat and steal and do whatever to have sex, which means that you were manipulating people in order to have sex because you were taught that manipulation is a way for you to do that, and you're afraid that that kid is still being taught the same things that you were taught. And instead of teaching your daughter, hey, so these are the ways that someone will manipulate you or try to manipulate you, here are some steps and some tips that you can implement in your dating life because you're gonna date. Instead, you say, nope, cancel it. No one's dating my daughter. She's fucking virginal. She is pure. She's gonna stay pure until the day I die. But your son is out here fucking on everybody. Everybody get to fuck on your son, and you're proud about it. Why are you proud of that? You're proud of your sons, but not of your daughters. You're proud of your sons because you want them to be like you or the men that you admire. You know, the womanizers, the manipulators, the possible abusers, the possible rapists that somehow none of you know about, but every woman knows about. So you want your sons to be out here fucking, dating, talking to girls, specifically girls, but you don't want your daughters to be dating, and somehow every father feels this way in some sort of way, that they don't want their daughters to be dating, but you also don't want your sons to be gay or queer. So who do you think they're dating? Who do you think they're dating? Who do you think they're fucking? Because you don't want it to be girls, right? You don't want it to be girls, so you don't want it to be girls. You don't want it to be non-binary kids or trans kids, so you want it to be boys. That's logical reasoning, right? No, because none of this shit is logical. No, you want your boys to be out here fucking other people's daughters so their fathers can be upset. You see how this is a cycle that you're adding into, this patriarchal cycle based in misogyny? Because you want your daughters to stay chaste, but you want your boys to sow their oats. Does that sound familiar? Does that hit? Because it should. It should. It makes no fucking sense why your sons are allowed to be out here fucking people, but also not be gay. But it's not okay for your daughter to be out here fucking people, or specifically boys, because as we continue to grow as a society and more of us come out as queer, do you notice that there aren't really fathers out here being, once they get past the internalized homophobia and shit like that, you notice that they don't really have problems with their daughters dating girls. Have you heard that it's because the girl can't get the other girl pregnant? What does pregnancy have to do with a teenage girl dating? If it's really about them dating and learning themselves, because that's what happens when you date. You learn about yourself. You learn what works for you and what doesn't, what you're willing to accept and what you're not. Why are you worried about pregnancy? Is it because your teenage daughter being pregnant means that it brings shame upon your family? And only a boy can do that, which is why you don't want boys around. Okay, makes sense. But when your daughter is queer, I don't give a fuck about that. Or you do, but that just leads right back into homophobia, which a lot of times is steeped in misogyny. You see how all this is connected? All of this is connected. All of this is a fucking scam. It's stupid. Allow your daughters to date. Just allow them to do it. It doesn't make sense for you to not let them do it. What happens when you try to block your daughters from dating? Either they do it behind your back or they don't do it and they're stifled. Their growth is stunted for the rest of their lives until they decide that they want to change it. Which is why we have one of the reasons why we have women out here who've never masturbated before, who've never had an orgasm before, who lie when they say that they're sleeping with people and they had an orgasm and they really didn't. That's why you have women who don't see themselves as sexy. All because they're daddy. And there are a whole bunch of other reasons too, but you're not helping your daughters love themselves if you stop them for dating. Just saying. I mean, I could be wrong. You could be in the comment section talking about how I'm wrong, how I don't know what I'm talking about. I ain't got kids right now. So what do I know? I'm not a parent. I'm just a daughter who grew up in that sort of environment and saw how it stifled me and my friends, and saw how it pushed the other set of my friends into dangerous situations because they're curious. Because nobody's gonna stop them. Because they're teenagers. Teenagers are rebels. But you know, let's have a conversation about it. That's what this all is about. Having a conversation and considering if you want to change some things. Go find me on the internet anywhere. It's in the description below. Like I said, be mad, don't be mad, agree with me. Let's talk about it. I'll see y'all next week. I love you guys. And allow your daughters to date. You're helping them. Go help your daughters. Go help your daughters. Okay? Okay. Bye.